Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Forgotten Gear Restorations. This is the 5th attempt at cutting a cogent voiceover for you guys out there. I hope you appreciate it. And I hope you're having a lovely start to your weekends. We're sitting here at Friday behind the old bread factory in Orange County, California. And this one goes out to all you goons and mutants who think you're going to get some rest and relaxation this weekend. Well, I hope you do. Speaking of rest and relaxation, this 1978 Fender Twin is ready to go home to his owner. It was one hell of a ride getting this girl from where it was to where it currently sits now. So, I'm just glad. I'm glad that this thing is done. Stylistically speaking, not the ending I wanted from a production standpoint, but I think it's the ending that I needed. You guys take care out there. Bye-bye. All right, Kip and the rest of you goons and mutants out there, I welcome you back. Now, where are we? What are we doing? Take a peek at that. I've just severed the old 33K bias range resistor. Is it even a range if it's not adjustable? No. Well, that's the resistor that's in question right now. That was putting this new set of tubes extremely cold, around 20 milliamps of plate current. That's not going to do. You guys might recall me saying that whenever you go from old stock tubes to the newer, more contemporary tubes like the JJs, they're going to be very cold. And that's the case here. So using Ohm's law and all those things, or you could just jump online to robinette.com and use his super handy bias calculator. We've come to determine that 40 milliamps of plate current at that given plate voltage of around 440 volts DC is what's going to do it for us. That's what's doing it. Now, what you're looking at here, this little blue box with all the switches on it, that is a decade box. That's basically going to allow me to select from any combination of resistance so I can find that sweet spot for whatever I'm working on. Now, this is dissipation limited. You really don't want to put anything too spicy through it for too long. These are good for about 1 watt. So we're not going to get crazy here. Moving up to 20K of resistance is going to put us here. I do need to rebalance, as you can see. And for some reason, if you don't catch these just right when you're using 2 of these probes, you're going to get one with the plate voltage being blank. But all things being equal, you can mess around with the power switch until you get the right combination of throws to make this plate voltage appear. But I've already verified that prior, and I'm concerned with these numbers here on the bottom. So I can adjust that balance-wise. That will help that little bit of 120 to disappear. There's not much there. So I'm going to go ahead and fine-tune this guy, and then I'll find the appropriate resistor and place that there. Bye. And by the way, don't put tinfoil around your fuse, guys. Just get the appropriate fuse. Kip, I know this wasn't you, brother. So don't use this stuff. All right, so that master's on 10. We have our tone control set to our preference. Now listen, open chassis, so you're getting all that stuff. But listen, dead quiet, you guys. Aside from having that, what you expect from having an open, unshielded chassis. Beautiful. So let's get her buttoned back up, and we'll get some testing done. All right, Kip, sorry it's so shaky. Focus on that little black tube right there. That's your trim optocoupler, or they call them trim roaches. There's all kinds of names. So, okay, I'm going to switch it on. Now watch the light. There's no corresponding sound. The effect is not there. And the volume is on 10. The intensity is on 10. Okay. So let me see if we can find out what's up. Well, let's get some volume. 400 hertz signal. Business. Business. Let's do it.